What's up, everyone? Coach Tony here. In this training, we're going to break down how to prepare for a computer science major. This is one of the majors that has exploded over the past decade. The demand for computer science has gone up and up and up and up and up, making it one of the most demanded, impacted, requested majors out there for students. So much that certain colleges even made it into its own school slash college in their own instance. For example, a recent one is UC Berkeley brought out their students because the computer science students kind of skewed the data of everyone else there too. So a lot of schools are tapping into it, especially with how technology is moving. We're seeing a lot of new things come up really, really fast. The explosion of the tech industry tied to the birth and the really rapid acceleration of artificial intelligence, machine learning, AI, ML. Huge demand for this in the future that's caused a big spikes. As a result of that, you're seeing that computer science is a very, very, very impacted field to do. So how do we prepare? How do we make sure our students has the best shot of doing the best they can in the admissions process? My name is Coach Tony. I actually was a former UC Berkeley admissions reader from UC Berkeley. From then, I actually worked at UCLA as a director. I opened my own high school. Then I became TikTok's first college admissions partner. And over the last 16 years, I've been helping families with the college admissions process. Again, I'm literally everywhere, right? From a lot of schools I'm based in California, so a lot of California schools, the UCs, LA, Berkeley, USC, Stanford, Caltech, to all the other schools, including the Ivies, including top schools like MIT as well, too. So the big thing today is not that the colleges, while they play a role, the big thing today is preparing for the computer science major. So we're going to break it down in this training here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for those who are joining me live on this recording. On the live, I'll drop it in the chat for you all if you want to tune in. For everyone else, pretty much if you're watching the replay for this, it's somewhere on this page. Just look somewhere and you'll see it on this page there. So when it comes to preparing for the computer science major, there's kind of three aspects that you want to make sure we have correct, right? The academics, the activities, and the application itself. And in the admissions process, these three are the three most important features for you to make sure you have done correctly. Okay, so we're going to talk about each of these categories and how to best share it in your apps. So first off, let's start first with the academics, right? So when it comes to the academics specifically, right? When it comes to academics specifically, think of it as this is the classes, right? This is the classes that you'll be taking for this, right? When it comes to the academics, there's something we call the overlay, right? So for every single major out there, there's something that readers are trained to look for in your application. These are overlays. These are things that hey, there's something I'm looking for when it comes to the academics. There's things I'm looking for when it comes to the activities as well. So starting with the academics, the overlay for computer science is going to be a strong math background and a strong physical sciences background, right? Between these two, math and physical sciences would be this kind of inequality, right? If, however, if you're interested, like a side note, right? If you're interested in engineering, right, it's actually very, very similar, but it's be math plus physical sciences it's a plus. It's not a graded, it's a plus, means you gotta do both really well there too. Okay. So that's gonna be the big overlay. So let's talk about what this means, right? So when it comes to strong math, when we say strong math, we mean try to finish the entire math sequence at your school. Means just get to AP Calculus BC at the minimum is kind of the goal that we want, right? However, as computer science gets more and more competitive, it's who everyone now is doing Calculus BC. So because everyone's doing Calculus BC, how are we standing out in addition to all these classes as well? And the way you do that is go past Calculus BC. And you're like, how do I go past Calculus BC, right? So there's actually 3 additional math courses in theory you could take as a high school student that's past BC. Number 1 is going to be multivariable calculus, also known as calculus 3, right? Calculus 3. There's going to be linear algebra, and there's going to be differential equations. Right? These are the 3 math classes that are past Calculus BC, which essentially is Calc 1 plus Calc 2. But again, most high schools do not offer this. Some schools do. Some schools are pretty advanced. They're a very math-heavy school that they will offer this as an option for you at your school, but not many do because not many people actually make it this far. So where you would go to for these classes is like the local community college, right? So these can be taken at a local community college to help you fulfill these various requirements here, okay? That's going to be the big one when it comes to these classes. However, now how? How do we even get past these classes here? So when it comes to like a scheduling point of view, right? Academic scheduling, right? For us to achieve this at the minimum, right? There's a few things we need to make sure we have in place. So 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. These 3 classes typically are done during senior year. So during senior year, there's going to be, there's your multivariable, there's your linear algebra, and there's your differentials. The caveat about community college classes is these are offered right? In an in a community college in a semester-based system, which means you're done with it in half a year. That's why we're able to do. It's not taking 3 classes at once. It's taking each class one by one, just a lot, very accelerated, right? So typically, a lot of our students will take this class during summer, the multivariable calculus during summer. A lot of students take linear algebra during fall, and students take differential equations during spring. So this way you're able to do the fall, summer, fall, spring, and be done with 3 years worth of math in 1 literal year, 365 days, right? So that's the cheat code here. However, to do that, working backwards, right? This is the year we could get calculus BC completed, right? To get our calculus BC completed here. And again, if you want to work backwards, you can. So there's various options we can go now to get to BC as a junior year, right? So for some of you guys, let's say you're starting pretty high. So you're starting at pre-calculus 9th grade. You can go AP Calc AB 10th grade, which will get us to the BC in 11th, right? That's option 1. In theory, if you are already at pre-calc, right? Pre-calc in 9th grade, you could go straight to BC in 10th grade, which again would free up the rest of the schedule, which means I would do multivariable in the fall of 11th and then do linear in the spring of 11th, which means you'll do differentials in fall of 12th, right? Is another combination. Another combination you do, let's say you start pre-calc, you start at algebra, right? Algebra 2, 9th grade year. If you start Algebra 2 9th grade year, in theory, what you could do is you could go to pre-calc or AP pre-calc, right? Pre-calc in 11th grade, which you go to BC in 11th grade, and then you're good again to follow the original schedule there. And that's pretty much the K-Algebra 2. Let's say you start geometry, right? You start geometry in 9th grade. What you could do is you could do Algebra 2 over the summer, right? So do 10th, summer 10th. This is like the year before 9th and 10th grade, summer 10th, which means now you can take pre-calc in the 11th grade, and we can go back to the previous scenarios to get us to, oh no, pre-calc in 10th, I mean, right? And which will get us to BC in 11th. And then another option we can do is we can do, let's say you're starting at Algebra 1, right? Then this will be a little more intense schedule as well. But 9th grade, you can do that. Summer geometry, you do geometry over summer, over summer, right? Summer 10th, all right? And then you can, in theory, you can in theory do both classes because both classes don't interfere with each other, is the other one, right? But you can do like either Algebra 2 in the fall, in 10th grade, or there's classes like math analysis, right? Where it'll be a hybrid math analysis. is another option there. You can do Geo and Algebra 2, right? In 10th grade, which would push us to, again, BC again in 11th, right? The whole goal is how fast can we get through the math sequence? Tons of different options out there. Again, I started switching between AP and regular. That's going to play a role as well too. But for this is just the scheduling aspect, right? The scheduling aspect of what class we should be doing to hit these. But that's kind of the ideal that you'd want for the math. When it comes to the physical sciences, right? Physical sciences like physics and chem is the two physical sciences out there, right? Biological sciences like bio and chem. Chem's the little hybrid brother of the two, right? But between the two, physics is the more bigger one as well too. So if you can get the physics done, physics 1 to C, go for it as well too. I think that's gonna be the key for us here. So again, integrating that into our schedule. Some schools require you to do the regular class to do the AP class later on, right? Some classes you can jump straight to the APs, whatever it is, you can plug it in to here. Again, that you do like physics, AP physics, if you can, AP physics if you can as well too, right? That's the thing there. Again, so now, how, right? How can we do this as well? So a few things. We talked a little bit about local community college to take math classes. I don't recommend taking community college classes for the physics. The reason why is it's a different curriculum. Can you do it? You can. Do I recommend it? No, right? And you'll think you learn when it comes to like helping map out schedules for students is there's no one right way for every single person. There are a few kind of guidelines that we like to, hey, let's try to stick to these as well. But there's a few things that we're like, yep, this has done really well. This is not done really well. The thing about sciences specifically is sciences don't really match up a lot with the high school curriculum. That's why like it's completely different altogether there. So in theory, you'd want to hit your physics through like a online high school option such as UC Scout or like a BYU or let's say Valley High School, one of these online high schools that get you AP credit for the class, then you can also take the test at the end of the year. Again, keep in mind, the most important thing is the credit of the class is what we're chasing, right? Is the biggest one. That's the big thing. Again, the score is fine. You get a good score is awesome. You get exempt from it. But the big thing I'm looking for is going to be your class performance of the class itself. Okay. So that's gonna be the big one. And this is where you'd, again, a lot of schools don't offer AP physics or don't offer a lot of more advanced AP physics. That's why taking at the local, like the local, taking out like these online high schools, that would be an awesome opportunity for you to do it. Keeping in mind, this does cost money, so it's not a free option. There are going to be some dual enrollment, by the way, could be free for some students. Again, same thing. Some students may have to pay for them, but typically for a lot of times it's free. If you're looking at cost though, in terms of the dual enrollment, it's typically free, but if they make you pay for it, you pay per unit, which is like $50 a unit. With classes being like 3-4 units, you're paying like $150, $200 for a college class that will get you college credit in half a year versus if you're doing like an online AP, these are like I think $800 ish plus, right? Is the math. UC Scouting is the most affordable at 800. The other one's a little bit more pricier there, but you have to pass the AP exam to actually earn the college credit itself. So pros and cons to both. So definitely keep that there. But that's with the big one for the academics, right? The other thing you want to also demonstrate is interest in computers, right? Computer science, right? So we call it love of learning. We call it love of learning, right? So taking computer science courses. So you can take like again, there's like in terms of APs, there's AP CSP, there's AP CSA, right? So there's different computer science classes you can take just to show, hey, I'm interested in. Again, if your school doesn't offer it, there's always online options there. Now, the question is, can we take this at the college level? That's always a big question there. So the answer, yes and no, right? So the answer, yes, is in theory, yes. You open it to community college. Community college has a lot of classes, especially in computer science, that you can take. However, keep in mind that everything I've mentioned so far is transferable, meaning if you take it at your community college, it's going to transfer to the 4-year school. However, a lot of CS computer science classes at the community college level do not transfer. That's the one thing you got to understand and keep in the back of your head is that can you take it? Yes, in theory, you can. However, what's the payoff of it? And this is where like strategy and recommendations come into play. Is again, for some students, I'd rather have you be more efficient with your time. Does that mean it's wrong? No, right? People do things all the time. People stack their schedule full of AP classes. People study for the SAT for a lot of people, no reason. They shouldn't either. So a lot of people are just doing a lot of things. For us, it's like, what's the smartest route for you based on what you have so far? So for some students, we're like, yeah, go for it. Like, for example, if a student told me, hey, Coach Tony, I'm taking pre-calculus right now, or I just talked to a student last night. He finished BC as a freshman, right? His school let him take BC as a freshman. He took it, he passed it, he did great in it. So for him, yeah, go take all the computer science you can because you're done with essentially your math. We put him on these three additional classes a lot earlier, but I'm like, yeah, go take the computers because you have the luxury in your schedule to be able to take a lot of these classes and demonstrate because then your math is good now. Then you have the other pieces to show. So it depends on per case basis, but the biggest thing is typically if you can take it at like an AP level course, do it there. And then, right, because the cool thing about computer science, you don't actually have to take a formalized class, right? A lot of stuff they teach you in computer science can be learned online. You can learn it on YouTube. You can learn it on sites such as Coursera, right? YouTube, right? Coursera, EDX. These are online platforms that are hosted. They're hosted classes from actual colleges, universities that are free for you to basically audit the class, take the class, learn the material. You can do the work. I do not recommend, by the way, pro tip, do not pay for the certificate. It's like $300 it does nothing. It makes you feel good, has no relevance, no one's going to ask you for it, doesn't count for anything either. But the biggest thing here is that you're doing it again, going back for the love of learning, right? Taking these classes, learning these classes and seeing, hey, what could I learn that I can do? Because again, when it comes to here, the second pro tip I have here, the strategy actually here is you take the class to learn the material, take the class to learn the material, and then apply it. Apply what you have learned. That's the trick for these online courses, right? So you take the class and you do the thing. Just like for you guys watching this training, don't just watch this and say, that was great. No, take it, help your child figure out, okay, cool, what do we need to do next, right? So it's the learning. The most important is not the learning. Again, you guys don't need me. You guys have Google, right? Nothing I'm saying here is new. This is all Googleable, right? Just compile yourself. I'm just compiling for you, right? But you can Google all this. The hardest part is the implementation of all this, right? Who's gonna have tell your kid what to do specifically, holding their hand through the journey there? That's the big thing, right? So most important thing, YouTube, Coursera, EDX. That's the big key here. Okay, so that's the big one. I think that's classes. That pretty much hits all the things for classes again. Because and then the rest of your classes, right? The other classes that you have, because computer science is a very impacted major, because it's really, really competitive, you want to basically stand out above the rest, which means you want to max out your rigor in all the other classes as well, right? You want to max out all the rigor in all the other classes as well, because everyone else is smart, right? It's one of those things that we tell our students, like, again, expectations, right? Where we live in a very interesting world. Again, this is my personal thoughts as well too. I think 2020 made a few kids changed how they view the world, and not, I don't think, the greatest way for their futures. They think that, hey, I want to be literally the top percent, right? How many computer science students are there actually at these schools, at these top schools? Very, very small. And they're thinking, I can be that 1% by not doing the work. Parents, you guys can tell your kids that no, if you want to be part of the elite is a little different, right? You can't be normal. You can't be average to be part of the elite. The elite, they just work a lot differently than a lot of other people. They put in more hours. They do more things. They do the hard work because the hard work is what pays off for them in the end. A lot of people talk about, like, and the reason why a lot of you guys want to go in tech and computer science, they get paid very well, right? Right out of college, six figures pretty much on the bat. Right, some of my friends are making 4, 5, 600,000 per year a few years in. It's not like It used to be crazy numbers back in the day, but now it's like, oh, that's kind of normal in this kind of industry, right? But if you look at how much they work, of how smart they are, they're not normal. That is not normal behavior of what they do, right? So going back to here, if you're saying, hey, I want to do computer science, I want to do these top schools, go ahead and demonstrate that, right? Show the readers that. So not only are you maxing out your math, not only are you maxing out your sciences, not only are you maxing out your interest in computer science, show me that you're also good everywhere else, because everyone is competing against you as well too. Doesn't mean people are, oh, I'm gonna take hard math. I'm not good in English. Let me do that. How many other kids are good in computer science and also good in English, right? So again, you want to max the rigor. That's the key here. Max the rigor in all the other classes as well. Okay, that's gonna be the big key for you here. Okay, so that's the first piece. That's the academics here. Okay, moving on. Second piece is gonna be the activities. I'm either gonna get some of you guys very excited. I'll get some of you guys very irked with this section right over here, right? So when it comes to the activities, one of the big things that we kind of look for, there's actually two things that we actually look for when it comes to the activity itself, right? The activities we track, just like for academics, we're tracking the rigor. If you notice, I've said a lot rigor, right? Taking the level of difficulty of classes you've done. When it comes to activities, readers are looking for two things, or actually they're looking for three things, but two things you have active control over, right? Thing number one is the commitment. We call that hours per week, right? How many hours per week have you spent doing your activities? Number two is gonna be your interest, right? College call this passion, or no, passions. And then we call it interest. What do you like to do, right? And number three is leadership, right? As well too. And again, sometimes some of you guys be like, Coach Tony, my school is so competitive, I couldn't be a leader. I'm like, cool, there's other ways to be just a title leader. But sometimes, right, that's not in our control. We might not be popular for some things, we might not get it, but you do have control over the first two, right? This one, sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but you do have control over the hours, you do have control over your interest. So let's talk about these. So first thing we're gonna do is the hours per week, right? Hours per week. This is not something that I don't think you can find online though. This is a unique one just to us. We've done this for a very long time now, that we've like kind of tracking, hey, what are our kids doing, right? One of the things you learn in school, don't copy people. Copying people is bad. One tip I'll have you for life, like post-college, post-life, copy people who are doing something right, because there's a reason why they are winning, right? So what's someone doing that's like, they're doing really well. Don't copy them exactly, because again, if you copy blindly, you don't know what's working and what's not. Understand why they are doing what they're doing and then copy that. So when it comes to us, same logic, right? There's a reason a lot of our kids get into the schools like the MITs, the Caltechs in computer science pretty easily, right? And it's not because, oh, we have some magical thing that we do. We don't have any insider information. It's frameworks. They're frameworks that we have like, hey, just do this. You should be fine. So one of the big things for us is the hours per week. If you're aiming for, again, a computer science, I'm assuming also aiming for a very competitive school, our students like to have between 25 and 30 hours of activities per week. This is a per week number. And you're like, holy moly, that's a lot of hours. And we're like, let's break it down a little bit, right? Because in theory, it sounds like a lot, but it's not actually that a lot, right? So again, for those who are curious, it's like, no, Coach Tony, it's a lot of hours. I don't even have that much. I'm like, let me gently prove you wrong, right? So in a typical week, right? Typical week, you have 168 hours, right? For hours, that's 24 hours in a day times 7 days a week, right? 168. You should be sleeping. The student should be sleeping 8 hours a night times 7 days, 56 hours, right? So I know a lot of you guys do not sleep 8 hours a night. You should, right? Parents, remind them or show them this video. Sleep 8 hours a night, right? Because the thing is, when you don't sleep, there's a really good book called Why We Sleep. If you haven't read it, I'm sure you can find it online or something too. But read that. It's a really awesome book talking about how efficient we are. If you sleep 8 hours, you're performing at maximum efficiency. Let's say you sleep less, you're not saying you're bad, you probably like at 99, 98. And the longer you don't sleep your full 8 hours, the less of a performer you are. And eventually it's going to catch up to you, that it's going to grow a lot faster, right? Have you gone like a week without sleeping a lot? By day 7, you're like drained. Things are a lot slower and this and that as well too. And that's why, right? But imagine you're operating 100% every single day. How much more can you do? That's the big key, right? So it's not about doing a lot. Because again, we all have the same 24 hours, but how can some kids have so many things on their apps, right? Versus I was like, hey, I would have 2 or 3 things. It's not because they have more time. We all have the same time. So when students tell me I don't have time, I'm like, that's a terrible line. I have the same time you do as well too. So it's not. It's the real question is I'm not being efficient with my time is the real thing, right? So sleep, I think is really important. You have school, what 30 hours ish a week plus or minus, right? Depending how long school is. Homework, I think 3 hours a night times 5 hours is typically normal. If you're spending more hours than 3 hours a night on homework, 2 things. Number one, you need help, right? Meaning, like, not in a bad way. It's like, hey, you might be struggling with stuff that's taking longer than normal, right? Definitely talk to your teachers, get support, study groups. Let's figure out how we can make it a little more, because you might not understand the material, right? Acknowledging that to get help is a really, really big thing. Number one. Number two, right? Number two is that you're not being efficient. I bet you if you say I'm spending 3 hours on the homework, you're spending like 20 minutes on the homework. The rest of it, like trying to find a song to play in the background, singing to the song, humming to the song, keeping TikTok on the side, texting people back. So how much active time are you actually spending on homework? And for a lot of people, it's not a lot, right? So I think that's the big thing there, right? So again, and if you're not, and if it is way more than that, this is one of the things, because one of the other kind of like side lessons of this is that for us to hit this, we have to reduce this number, right? Because again, this will be the other biggest chunk of your day outside of sleeping is school related stuff. So when people max out, right, they max out like, oh, I'm taking every class you can think of and doing this. I'm like, you can do that, but just a heads up for those quick backtracking, these aren't equal, right? In terms of the admissions process, the academics is the least important section, right? So we tell our students focus really hard on your activities because your activities can bring up, right, your academics. And then one thing that's even bigger, we're teasing ahead, your application plays a bigger role than your activities. So it's that's kind of the real structure. So we want to make sure we allocate things correctly, right? Again, a lot of families focus a lot on academics and they get confused why their child didn't get in. And I'm like, well, there's your equation, right? You're focusing on the least important thing. If I told you, all right, you're running a marathon and all you did, right? All you did was practice lifting weights with your arms, right? You practice lifting weights with your arm. Cool. You have big arms, but you can't, your endurance might not be there. Your legs might not be ready for the marathon. You're training for the wrong thing versus, hey, if I'm gonna run, let's make sure I just run, make sure I just do the things that's important. Everything else, of course, helps, right? Again, you're if you do weight, this is like going to health now. Either way, you're more healthier, it helps you out with there. But the big thing is what's the main thing that's gonna play the biggest role for, and that's kind of what we optimize for. So going back, the hours per week. Whole school homework. I also believe students should have me time. We define this as things that you do to kind of keep you sane, right? Again, our students are going to be running really, really hard, meaning, right? They're going to be taking a lot of classes, really hard classes, a lot of activities. If you don't take a break, you're going to burn out, right? And the biggest thing we tell our students all the time is balance. You have to have balance. We will never tell you to overdo what you cannot do, right? We'll tell you to real talk and like let's evaluate what's going on, right? Because you can't expect to go to, let's say, in a MIT level like computer science where avoiding APs, that's probably not the right logic. But right, we don't want you to burn yourself out because what's the point? What's the point? Because again, once you get there, the reason why we have you do this, once you get there, this is nothing compared to what you did. We just did an interview with we just did an interview with two of our coaches, Coach Michelle, Coach Sarah, who both got into MIT as undergrads, right? Similar but also different pathways as well too. And then they both stressed that like once you get there, it does get tougher, right? It does get tougher. A lot more things. People are exhausted, but they're still doing more at that level, right? So again, keep in mind, this is just practice. And again, here's the real talk answer. That's not for everyone, right? Not everyone is going to end up at these schools, and that's fine. But if you do want to end up at those schools, this is the path to get there. I think that's the big key also. Okay. But I do recommend me time hour and a half every day, times 7 days was at 9.5, right? So 10, let's say 10, right? The thing is, this is like the TikToks, the Netflix. I watch a show every day, for example, right? Netflix, video games, whatever it is, don't do crazy, but like an hour each day, it's enough to like mentally reset you. So you're able to keep pushing with the rest of your day there. You do the math, you still end up with around 50 hours left remaining in your week. This is where your activity hours can shine, because activities, people think it's only just like clubs, sports, this and that. Activities defined as how you spend your time, right? Because again, some of you guys are working. That's an activity. Some of you guys are going out to compete and stuff. That's how you spend your time. Some of you are learning outside of school, learning how to code, right? That is part of how you spend your time. Some of you are going to competition. That commute time is part of the activity hours, because how you spend your time. So everything that you do is part of this activity hours. Some of you might have hobbies, right? Some interests that counts. Some of you have responsibilities that counts as well too. So colleges just want to see, how do you spend your time? Because if you don't share with me, right, I'm going to assume you watch Netflix the entire time, right? Culinary class words. I assume you watch culinary class words the entire time, right? So that's the biggest thing. So you have to share, hey, here's how I've spent my time. Okay. So that's the big one. It's the hours per week. And the more, the better here. The second piece of this is going to be the passions interest, right? Passion slash interest. So when it comes to the passion slash interest, right, there's only two things that you have to do on your schedule if you are a computer science student. You guys ready? Number one, things you enjoy and things you think you might enjoy. That's it, right? So again, like I said, some of you guys might be like, oh, some of you like, that's awesome, permission, right? So the biggest thing here, people think it's a magical list. People are like, Coach Tony, I need an internship. I need a research program. I need a summer program. I need the coding this. I need hackathon that. I need all. You guys are using a lot of buzzwords, right? And again, question for you, now throw it back to you. Put yourself in the eyes of a reader. How many other kids are doing internships, research programs, summer programs, hackathons, coding stuff, so many things, right? So when it comes to today's world in the admissions process, the things you do are almost kind of irrelevant nowadays, right? So the thing is, what makes you different? When people ask you in interviews, hey, why should I pick you over someone else? It's not the thing. Maybe it is the thing. Maybe you have, again, this is like the extreme again. Let's say you designed the app that cured cancer. Whoa, very, very few people can actually say that, right? Boom, that's a really cool thing. If you develop something that like top chart on Apple, whatever, right? Cool. That's very impressive. Not many people can say that, right? So that's cool. However, that's not everyone, right? So but again, there's a lot of opportunities though for a lot of people. So the big thing, readers are not looking for the what, they're looking for the who you are as a person. How did that thing make you who you are, and why why not something else? This is the big magical, and this is also going to be applying for seniors doing your application. This is the magical thing. Don't just name drop, I did this, because that's cool. In theory, someone else could do the same thing. So what now, who do I pick is the question, right? So the thing is not as important as much as the why was that who you are, right? How has that made you? Have you always been this person? Did you change? Did you evolve? That's the big key that we're looking for in students specifically. So when it comes to what do I do with my activities, we tell students, one, what do you like to do, right? Does it have to be only CS stuff? No, right? Again, you are a human, which means you are complicated with a lot of interests, right? I bet you one of the things you will enjoy, I'm sure one of the things you enjoy is CS, right? So you probably do stuff naturally because you enjoy it. Some kids like competing. There's things that you compete. Some people like working with others, right? Hackathons are really fun for them, right? Working with other people. People like just coding, building stuff by themselves, building coding stuff on themselves. People like contributing. You can volunteer. So the thing doesn't matter exactly what it is. It's based on what does the student like, what does the student enjoy to do is number one, right? But right? Like, for example, for me, I'm a college admissions coach. I help students with the college admissions process. I'm quite good at the college admissions process. However, what makes me a little different than everyone else, I have a really cool mohawk, right? That most people I know I don't know. I have a good assumption that most people do not have the cool mohawk as well, too. Number two, I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. You guys can see here the Funko Pops behind me. Wrestlers, parents gift me wrestlers as little gifts. I love it, right? Pro wrestling, love. I watched this since I was a little kid. Pokemon here, the behind is a Pokemon case. There's like a Dragonite right here as well too, right? Huge Pokemon fan, huge Marvel fan. Here's all the I just bought this one. Marvel characters here. Some more Marvel characters over here as well too. Really big. I like to read, self-development, lots of books behind me as well too. Does me liking to read make me any worse of a college admissions person? Does me liking Pokemon make me any worse of a college admissions person? Wrestling, Marvel, right? All the things that I like and I do in addition to what I do every day, does that make me any worse? In fact, I would argue it makes me a little different. It makes me a little unique, aka it helps me stand out in the process. You guys keep asking, how do I stand out? And I'm like, stop doing things that make you look like every other student, right? Of course, you'll do the things because, again, I say the college admission stuff. I do the college admission thing because that's the thing. But what else besides the thing do you do that makes you a little different, a little unique, a little stand out? That's the key, right? So when it comes to things you enjoy, it doesn't have to be just computer science. What else besides computer science do you like? And if you don't know what you like, because a lot of kids like, I don't know what I like. I'm like, cool. Here's a good 2-3 things that I would recommend, right? Not sure of interest, try this. And parents, you can try it too. You'll prove me right or prove me right again, right? Number one, right? Have you guys used YouTube before? Have you ever looked up a YouTube video, right? And if you have, go to YouTube, right? Go to YouTube, and then on your front, youtube.com, your front screen, if you're logged in, right? It has your search history and what you've been watching. I bet you if I look at that front screen, I can tell what your interests are. If you watch mine, if you open up mine, you will see wrestling videos, right? You will see Pokemon unboxing videos. You'll see Marvel things. You'll see breakdowns. I love watching movies, right? You break down some movies as well too, and some self-development stuff. Boom. Things that I already enjoy because I'm going to do it more. For those of you guys in other social media platforms, such as Facebook, such as Instagram, as TikTok, right? Number one, if I scroll and I see the ads that you see, I know who you are as a person. I know what you're in because companies pay a lot of money to stalk us in a good way, right? I think it's a good way, right? Because they know who we are, they know what we like, right? So your ads is number one. There's explore pages, right? So again, same thing, TikTok feed. TikTok is based on interest now. The other platforms are switching to that format. So if you guys have followed along social media world, right? Facebook, Instagram used to be network, means they show your friends first. But nowadays, do we even care about our friends? Who knows, right? But we care about the things we like. So TikTok got big because it only showed us things we like. That's why if you're noticing now on Instagram and Facebook, they're starting to switch to that mode where they're only the things you're seeing might not be your friends, but it's things that you enjoy, right? They call it the TikTokification of social media. So with that, if I scroll through your feed, I'll also know who you are. If I look at the explore page, I'll know who you are because that's your interest. Number three, if you look at your phone tells you what apps you use the most. If I look at that, I'll be like, you're a big shopper. Temu there, right? TikTok shop here, right? So we'll see kind of what type of person you are based on that. That is where I'd start. Start there, and then you ask them, what can I do with this? And this will lead us to number two of let's do things we think we might enjoy, right? Because when you do stuff you think you might enjoy, two things will happen. Option one, you hate it, right? Guess what happens when you hate it? Stop it. That's it, right? Once you don't like it, stop doing it, right? But the option two What if you like it, right? Keep doing it. And that will move up to the things you enjoy. This is an endless loop, basically, of like identifying things you might enjoy, and you like it, it moves up to things, right? When you expand more on that, that's going to be the big key when it comes to here, right? That's going to be the big thing here. So when it comes to activities, there is 0 things you have to have on your applications. Can you do the things? Can you have an internship? Sure. But that should be stuff you might enjoy, things you enjoy. Just like little side comment internships. You need to be skilled to have an internship. If you cannot code, no one's gonna take you is the thing. Because think about this way. You're like, but I'm free though. I'm helping them for free. No, you're not. You're costing them money because they need to train you now, right? How much is their time worth is the thing to train you. You're costing them money versus if you have the skills and you jump in and help them build something, right? Because you have the skills already. Now you're helping them. That's a pretty good argument for the internships, right? Of like, hey, let me help you there. Research. Again, a lot of you guys have no skills, right? To do research. You don't understand the stuff. PhD students have struggle finding it. And if they struggle finding it, how are you better than a PhD student? And they don't even get paid either, is the thing, right? So I always think about this stuff in mind when it comes to here. But the biggest thing is do stuff you enjoy, do stuff you think you might enjoy. There's nothing that you have to do, but if you follow this logic, everything will work out nicely. Right? It's one of those like, but what about this? What about that? Again, do you enjoy it? Do you think you enjoy it? Because then if the answers are yes, we're going to hit there. Same thing with the hours. Do you have to hit 25, 30 hours? No, don't track it like, oh my God, every hour. No. This is something you aim for. Because again, would you guys agree with me that if a student's spending 25, 30 hours, they're doing a lot of activities hours, a lot of activities, right? So these are all mental models for you to kind of aim for. Even if you don't hit this, you're still going to be way ahead of most other people, right? Last piece is going to be leadership. But really quick, when it comes to leadership, it could be formal or informal. You don't have to have the title. Let's say in a group, you helped organize a certain part of the code, right? Boom, there. During a certain event, you help rally, you help your team win a certain round of some competition, right? So when it comes to leadership, there's a lot of different ways. There's formal and informal roles that you gotta make sure both work, right? We really just want to see you and who you are there. Okay. Last component Last component is going to be the application itself. So this is where you put everything together. So not a lot of high level comments. Here's just a few quick tips when it comes to this area. So a lot of our seniors who are applying, right? The one area, again, all the apps you add in your academics, again, we hopefully did that already with the first section. You're adding your activities and what you did. Again, hopefully the second one you did it. So when it comes to the essays, right? The essay component, they're the essays, I'm putting in quotes because they're not essays. Think of these instead as a response, meaning you're talking to them, right? You're talking to them as well too. And if it doesn't sound normal, natural talking, sound what you wrote, don't do that, right? Tweak it. But the most important thing where CS will come in line with this is there's a why us prompt and why major, right? So this is the big one that that I want to touch on a little bit when it comes to the computer science field, because think about this way, right? First off, when it comes to the why us prompt, a lot of students are doing it wrong. So when it comes to the why us, there's 2 tests. Oh, actually, there's 1 test with things, right? Actually, I'm gonna call it 2 tests. First one is called the whiteout test, and the other one is the title test, right? So what's the whiteout test? The whiteout test is, let's say you talk about, oh my God, I want to go to your school because of X, Y, and Z. You guys have a great blank, blank, and blank. I'm like, cool. If I took out that school's name and I plugged in any other school in its place, would it still make sense, right? If I took out the college's name and plugged in another school, would it make sense? For example, if you told me, I want to go to Harvard because you guys have great faculty, you guys have a great location, and you guys have tons of opportunities for me, period. Right? Great computer science program too, right? Let's say you take out the word Harvard and let's plug in Stanford in there. Hey, I want to go to Stanford because you guys have a lot of opportunities. great faculty. I forgot what I said earlier, but yes, you see how it works for both prompts, meaning that's a terrible YS essay because you're copy and pasting. These prompts should not be able to be copy pasted to anyone. You have to get so particular in a certain thing. A few things we recommend do not do in YS prompts. Do not, right? Avoid name dropping classes. There's zero research there. Use Google and copy paste, copy paste. Statistically, you're not going to take that class anyways. Right? You're lying to you and the reader, is the thing, right? You're not going to do that class for most people, is number one. Especially if you name drop the wrong class, that's not even part of the requirements, right? And that's even more bad that you even do your research there, right? So don't name drop classes because classes can switch. The other thing, you do not name drop teachers or professors. The reason why is they can move, right? What if you say, I want to go to Professor Tony, I'll go here, Professor Tony's there. And what if between that year and next year, I move to a different school? Are you going to leave that school and come with me? Statistically, no, you're not going to leave the school because of me as well, too. So name dropping teachers and professors is not the greatest approach either, right? And again, statistically, again, also realistic, this is real talk. You're not going to talk to a professor unless you go to a very small school where you do meet them. The people students normally name drop are so like elite level people. Fun fact, if you ever go on a campus tour, try to find that person. They're never there, is a thing, right? So again, that's one of the big things I like, sounds like you're just name dropping stuff and you're just doing stuff. Because again, readers read, if I've seen this many times, colleges have seen this way more times than I have as well, too. So again, don't do that. Instead, what's something unique at that school that would not change, that would not be moved from the area, and why it's so unique? And the second one's the title test. I'm actually call it the Google Doc test. The Google Doc test. Our students right now, when they're editing, they're sending in their Google Docs, their essays on Google Docs, their names in the title, right? So then I'm like, cool. So let's say it sounds good. I'm like, wow, I want to go to your school because it has this particular thing. But so I'm like, wow, you did your research. You definitely understand how our school is unique. But my second test, if I go and change the Google Doc from John Doe to Sally, can Sally submit the same prompt? And for some of you, yes, because you're like, oh my God, I love the idea that Berkeley allows us to take classes like decals. We're able to take classes I would love to see if I could integrate. I know you guys have a Harry Potter decal. I have a love of Harry Potter, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, actually, let me clear it up. Yeah, I know you guys have a Harry Potter decal. And then you guys have a Rubik's Cube decal. Those are actually classes I took, by the way, right? There at the school, you guys, blah, 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 right? And then if I change a name, in theory, there's nothing about the student that I learned. I learned about Berkeley's unique thing, but not the student. So again, going back to why I kind of flubbed earlier, like why is that important to you specifically, right? Why is that unique factor relevant to you? That's the other big key of the why us. So when it comes to computer science, this is really hard because again, all schools are great, right? All schools are great. So number one, what's so unique about their computer science program, right? That you can't get another experience at another school. Because again, the schools might say, why not just go this other school for the program? So this is where the research of each school comes into play for you and figure it out. So if you have time, right? Usually the websites is a good start, but it won't tell you those nuanced things. So website is a start, but where you want to continue on, right? Talking to people, right? Current students, right? Current students, alumni, right? People who know the school, people who know exactly, hey, this is the vibe, this is the things that they don't tell you on the campus tours, right? As well too. You want to learn about that. Nowadays, right? If you're too shy to talk to people, TikTok and YouTube, right? So many channels, so many videos of people sharing their real thoughts, the truth about XYZ, because every school is good and bad, right? It's just that you prefer the good over the bad for the school that you're going to end up at. That's pretty much all it is, right? So figuring out what's so unique about the school that will make it perfect for me. That's the biggest thing. That is the big difference here, especially computer science, because everyone's applying computer science. That has one of the most applied to rates. So getting this part correct is huge in helping you stand out in there, especially with the Y major, right? Talking about, because if you talk about, oh, I love coding, love computers, love math, everyone's gonna say that. So for me, it's trying to figure out again the personal aspect of these questions, that is going to be the key when it comes to all this here. Because again, at the end of the day, right, they're trying to figure out who you are as a person, not just what you did. Because again, and for most computer science students, they're all doing very similar things, right? You guys are doing very similar things itself. But the biggest thing is what sets you apart and what makes you different, right? And that's gonna be the big key when it comes to the application itself. So with that being said, little segue, right? So we talked about the academics, the activities, and the applications. One of the final questions, I had some questions in the chat. I'll go ahead and do some Q&A because we have like a few minutes left. But before we do, how would it be? How would you guys like it if you guys can jump on a quick chat with our team to see if you guys are on track? So as our coaching families, they have access to our team to talk, to message us in our private community, jump on like calls with our team as well too. We have office hours available for them to talk to us. But for anyone who's not yet in one of our coaching programs, you guys are interested, right? Hey, I'm curious to see if my child's on track with this, or hey, here's where my at. Can you help me kind of figure this out for my child first too? In the chat, I just dropped down a link to book a free coaching call with our team. This is not for our coaching families, but if you're new, if you're curious, seeing where you guys are at, go ahead and book a 15-minute chat. It's not a sales call. You actually can't buy anything on this call. Our team is not going to sell you anything on this session at all. Quick 15 minutes. We don't have time to sell you anything anyways in 15 minutes. They're going to give you some quick, they do a quick audit where you're at. They'll ask a few questions, give you some feedback, and then that's pretty much it on that call. If you are interested in working with us, you can let them know. They'll schedule a second call with you to talk about our services programs if that's something you guys are interested in doing. Okay. But again, one more time, if you guys want to go ahead and book that 15-minute chat, boom, you can book it right there. I left it in the Zoom chat for those who are live. And those of you who are watching the replay, it's somewhere on this page. This is either above or below. It's somewhere on this page here. Okay. That being said, let's go ahead and do some little bit Q&A. Someone asked for the doc link. So I've been giving docs out the first 5 minutes of every live call. So if you join at live, I send it out to those folks who are here from the beginning. Everyone else, wait for the replay as well too, right? It's number one. Number two is take your own notes, right? Pro tip in life, take your own notes, right? Take your own notes, right? You listen is like one of the first forms of learning, right? But there's a reason why we run literally the largest UC admissions group, one of the largest Ivy group admission groups, and not everyone's making it in, right? And it's not because they don't have the information. They do. We give you literally, I gave you everything, right? For our coaching family, this is what we teach you guys. But the hardest part is not the knowledge. Hardest part is implementing the knowledge correctly. That's the hardest part of all, right? So one of the good things, take the notes for yourself so you guys can learn. And realistically, every time I've sent you guys these notes, by the way, I put trackers. For those who don't know, I hunt you guys down too. I put trackers and everything. No one watches the replays. No one watches the notes. So again, if you guys want the replay, request the replay. You guys can get the notes or take notes yourself, right? And that's probably gonna be accelerate your learning as well too. Okay. Another one is what's the name of the book? I think the Why We Sleep was the book I mentioned earlier. It's a fancy book. It's like an academic book, so it's not the funnest read to read. But if you guys are interested, it's called Why We Sleep. This one right here. So yeah, 99 cents an audiobook if you want to check it out. But yeah, this is the book here. Yeah, it's again academic book, not required reading for life, but I think it's a good book just to chat there. Okay. Cool. Perfect. That's pretty much it. Looks like the questions are over. So if you guys have one more time, if you guys are interested, go ahead and book a free 15-minute chat with our team. And then that's pretty much it here. And I'll see you guys on the next call.